How are you doing today?
Okay.
We can hear you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for making time out for this. Hi, Praise. How was your exam on Saturday?
Nah, man. I just say we thank God. We just thank God.
Hi, Jim. Yeah. So we can kick off now because honestly, I don't believe in rewarding late comment. Right. I think we should kick off now, and I'll do a quick introduction of our guest. Right. Goke is a member of the community. I think Goke is the first member of the community who would make our time to take us a session today, and we're very honored. Thank you so much. This is a topic that I've been waiting for a number of reasons, not just for myself, but for a lot of people in the community. And I'm so excited that the GM Goke will be the one taking it today. Goke is a business dev expert, and I don't say this because it looks good on paper. His work, his work shows that he's worked across different industries, from telco to the fintech, right? He worked at MTN Oyo for a while, and he's worked at ImaliPay. He worked on MTN Momo Mobile Money and other initiatives as well. And he's very passionate when it comes to business development. And you're going to see that. You're going to see all of the energy. You're going to see that when it starts. And yeah. So his core skills, when it comes to business development, is your guy. We're gonna drop his LinkedIn profile link. So after the session, he's gonna hold him, hound him. You're allowed to. And he's a very innovative person. He's really creative, and he's one of his strongest suits is relationship building and networking. And he also is really great when it comes to market analysis and trends. And he's really good at product management, right? He's led business teams, he's led sales teams. So when it comes to navigating all of the challenges that you face in your day to day as a junior business development person, as a mid development person, please, today is the day for you to hound him and drop all of the questions that are burning in your heart. Thank you so much, Goke, for joining us today. Please. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think maybe for data reasons, I'll turn off my video so that maybe I think connection will be wonky on my end.
No worries. So thank you. I think we can begin.
Okay, awesome. Wow, I'm really, really nervous. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you nervous? I don't believe that for a bit.
Well, there are some big players in this meeting, so me too. I have to try and step up. I'm actually a very shy person, ironically, but I found my way into sales. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, a shy guy found his way into sales. Okay, so let me see if I can quickly share. Sorry, it's my first time using Zoho, so forgive me, but I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yes. So to share your screen.
Yeah, I think
there is a arrow right beside the mic.
Yeah, I think I got that. Okay, confirm to me you can see my screen.
I can. Praise, can you see?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yay. All right, thank you very much for this opportunity, and seriously, thanks for putting this together. I'm not one to always join communities, but after hearing you guys so passionate that day, and of course you fed me small chops, so I had to just take it very seriously, and this for me is very refreshing. Basically, I will be going through a bit of my journey in business development, I'll also try to just talk about me, who I am, and basically try to answer as much as possible, answer as many questions as I can. Right. So for me, just three basic segments. I'll just give you a bit of background. Then of course we dive right into business development, and then last but not least, we just have a Q&A session. Please, at any point, if you do have questions, do let me know. But I'm sure Titi will be able to moderate that aspect pretty well. So a bit about me. So yes, I did spend 12 years in telecoms. Telecoms was fun because I guess, I worked with a brand that did a lot of things right. That was with MTN. My time in MTN saw me, I grew from an administrator to a field sales representative. So basically, I was selling airtime, MiFi, high Netflix, all those kind of things. I sold them. I don't know if anybody remembers people buying 4-in-1 SIM. Ah, Lord, that was beautiful. So we sold basically anything airtime related. This is my third year working with startups. I did start initially as a consultancy capacity, and in 2021 I decided you know what, I want to fully join the startup and work with them directly. So I actually left MTN directly to ImaliPay, and I haven't looked back, and I haven't regretted one day since. I would say I'm a bit of a builder. Um, Late last year, I decided to start my own little thing somewhere. It's still at the early stages. We do business dashboards for SMEs, basically dashboard as a service. I don't think what you may not know about me is that I'm actually a voiceover artist. I, for the first time last year, I actually featured in a radio jingle. I had a reach of, I think, about close to 1.1 million people. Like, it was really, for me, it was sublime. I couldn't believe it. And that is something I love doing. I'm also an archer. I discovered the sport quite recently, and of course, I love anime. So when I saw I could become an archer, I was like, wow, my dreams are coming true. And last but not least, I can be very unserious, and the unserious part of me basically came out from biz dev, and that's because, like you guys know, being a salesman can be one of the most unrewarding jobs in the world. So if you don't make yourself happy, honestly, I really don't know who else will, right? So I mean, that's just a bit about me. I said let me just share with everybody, and so we're going to dive right straight into it. We're looking at biz dev, right? I want to say in around 2008, 2007, a band called McFly. You guys may not remember them, but I was a serious rock head back then. I loved rock like crazy. They did a song called All About You, one of the most cheesiest songs ever. But that basically what biz dev is, right? And I mean, I don't want to give you some business textbook definitions for those of you who are just starting. But basically, as a business development officer or manager or wherever you may be, you are literally a walking CEO, and it's all about you. And in being a walking and talking CEO, there are so many things that you encompass. Because maybe in your early stages as a business dev person or a salesperson, you may not necessarily see it that way, but it gets to a point where you basically graduate from being just a regular staff, and then you become an entity. And why do I say so? So I mean, in biz dev, there are three key things that people usually look out for. Reach, right? So you're looking at your visibility. You're engaging people one and one to many. You become a source of information like an oracle, right? Your brand perception about you and then about the organization literally rests in your hands. Anywhere you go and anytime you talk, they literally see you one on one as a representative of that space. And through that, you're able to obviously cultivate partnerships. Now, you're also in charge of sales, revenue, you're in charge of profitability, you're in charge of resources. So which means that even though you're everywhere, you have to ensure that you're like an arrow. Pardon my archery pun. You need to hit your mark. So you can't necessarily waste time with the wrong people, but also you need to let people know that you're actually approachable and available. And then, like I said, in your reputation, because over time, your integrity matters the most. In fact, when I was so for a while I was posted in Ogbomoso, and I went around, selling MTN airtime to to retailers, to wholesalers. And at some point, I just realized that everybody kept buying my product. So, I mean, it was a bit curious. I asked her, like, oh, do people buy Airtel the same way? Not to say Airtel sucks, trust me, right? But what had happened is, in that territory, in that location, the reason why they stayed with MTN is for one simple reason, and that was integrity. If an MTN salesman walks up to you and tells you, if you buy the charge card from me, I'm going to give you an umbrella. Come rain or come sunshine, that umbrella is going to land. It's the same thing with business development. If you tell your partner, I'm going to solve your problems 100%, you have to, and you better deliver that 100%. It's not about hoodwinking them into coming in, which, let's be fair, we have done it to one or two people. But over time, you begin to realize that your integrity is basically at stake. So come rain, come sunshine, you have to represent integrity, and it's through that integrity that partners will continue to work with you. You have to be customer centric. You have to be innovative. I'll speak more of innovation as we go on. The BD landscape to be effective. This is just a rough summary. So tech has really taken over. Before it was a one-to-one engagement. Now with tech, you can basically reach people in different locations. I remember my first few months in startups. I literally did not meet people, and it bugged me out. I was bugged. I was like, why can't I see who I'm talking with? Everything most of it was virtual. Everybody was doing like work from home. I would go to offices and nobody will be there. They were like, oh, sorry, we're not working from home. We're working from home this week. And I'm like, that previously didn't exist in my head, right? Secondly, we're also dealing with evolving customer demands. Customer demands
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We stopped seeing your screen.
Whoa. Okay, hold
Yeah,
up.
I think I was trying to raise my hand to get your attention.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Back on.
Yes.
All right, awesome. I don't think I've gone far, so I guess you guys could still follow. Yeah, so I mean, looking at the being effective in the BD landscape, I was talking about dynamic forces, talking about how tech has taken over everything. Whether we like it or not, your business is affected by global market and demand. If you ever thought that that was a lie, please, everybody should just take their memory back to May 29 last year when the government came into power. They said one thing and literally our whole economy turned, went the way it went. Now, you may ask yourself, waiting concerning tech and fuel. Oh, trust me, there's what they call heavy high coloration there, right? So it affects, and as a BD person, you have to just keep up with that as much as possible. You have to be data driven. I cannot stress this enough. In the beginning, it's fine, right? You could rap, you could even say things you don't mean, and you may get away with it. But over time, what you then begin to realize is anything you say has to be backed up with data. I can't count the number of times where I've gone into engagement and I actually use real data to defend my position. And then you then realize that the person that you thought could solve your problem, apparently they are not necessarily the right fit, right? Heavy into analytics, heavy into customer insights. Your customer is basically the person that's giving you business, especially if you work in a startup. If you're working in a legacy company, well, then I guess the KPI is structured a bit different. But if you're working in a startup or someone who is still trying to like get product market fit, just when I say your customer insights become important. Also, you are actually a very good source of customer insights. Why? You engage your customers daily. And as much as it may frustrate you to hear things you've heard a million of times, it's shocking that sometimes your tech team has no clue of what is even being discussed. So you are now actually a focal point that actually connects the various teams, both internal and external teams. So you need to be sure that you have everything under control. Last but not least, adaptability and agility. In startup world can be pretty hectic, right? Change is constant. Pivoting can be brutal. I told someone recently that I sold 14 products in 2 months. I am not joking. 14 products. I went from selling phones and selling fuel on buy now pay later for petrol to then selling APIs then selling reward systems, then selling insurance systems, then we sold pensions, then like I can literally go on, but there were 14 different things we were saying at a point in time. Like, why? When your company pivots, you have to reorientate your mindset immediately and you move. Last but not least, you have to be able to enter the market hard and fast. I tell people, I feel, my opinion, that the Nigerian market has reached a point of saturation. What does that mean in terms of fintech? So at the beginning, you could launch a fintech. It will do well because there's nothing else like it in the country, right? But now you have so many players in the game. Although most people feel that this year is going to be more of a merger and acquisition year because the operating costs and the market is beginning to shape itself through customer demand. So some may fall to the wayside. But clearly the decline is not coming anytime soon, right? So you being able to adapt to the market forces and be able to move out and quickly and fast is also pretty important. So you are starting business development for the very first time. So maybe this session will be focused to more of the guys who maybe just started in the last 2-3 months, 6 months, trying to get their feet. My first question to you is why? Why would you want to do this to yourself? BD sales, man, it's tough. It's hard nights. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of no's. When I hear the word, oh, you have to be persistent, they were not joking. Your first no you hear in your life can literally almost make or break you because you think you have it perfect. In fact, you're going to have sessions where you speak to a customer, you said the right things, you did your story, wow presentation, and the guy is like, oh, that is so awesome. Can we get back to you in 7 months' time? And then you're like, excuse me? Like, but seriously, why? However, if you know that you do enjoy BD the way I do, then it's pretty simple. You know, it's a mind shift. It's not sales, right? For those who know who this guy on the screen is, he's Agent 47. People say he's an assassin that kills people. I said, no, he's not. He doesn't kill, he solves problems. And that's basically what you do as a business development officer or a manager. You are solving problems for customers. Whereas sales is just ensuring that you're able to get them to use your product. And if it's called sales, then basically that's it, you're hands off. But in BD, you are the first contact, you are the customer support, you are the engineer, you are the you are the resolver, you are the pricing expert. Basically, you encompass all these things. There's a training that I went for once, and they were talking about how they're doing orientation for their staff. And what they said was, when a customer sees you outside, who does he see? And they said, because our product is so prolific in terms of, and it's so embedded in people's everyday lives, when they see you, they don't see you as, oh, Jumoke, how you doing? I have this problem. No, they see you directly as the company. So I'll give you a wonderful example. As salespeople, whenever we move out to the streets to sell airtime to customers, any customer can walk up to me. Any customer can walk up to me and say, it's you. My SIM is not working for the past 3 days. Number one, I am not a customer care person. I have no clue about how phones work. I don't even know what is wrong. But guess what? It is a crime, and people have been sacked for it, for leaving a customer hanging. And there's actually like established protocol. If anybody says anything to you, be like, okay, thank you for what you just said. May I have a look? You look at it to see if maybe with common sense you can solve that problem. If you cannot, you call your manager. Manager, this person has given me XYZ problem. How do I solve it? The manager is going to log that transaction and get somebody who can solve that problem. You then follow up to say, customer, we've taken this issue. In the next 3 to 4 days, we should give you feedback. After 3 to 4 days, that problem has to be resolved because it now is on your head. You've taken it, you've done everything, and you've finally resolved for the customer. Hello, customer. Oh, this thing you asked for has been resolved. I hope you don't have any other issues. Now imagine that there are 1,000 of people, salespeople like that in your organization today, where every problem that's brought to them is being solved. That is a business development manager, because you are, like I said, you are everything from the beginning to the end. Everything comes through you, and everything at the end of the day goes out through you. We've seen cases where we've tried to steal a customer from a client, and you're actually literally showing evidence that, listen, who you are with right now is bad for you. They're like, well, we'll think about it. Not because working with you is not the right thing to do, but the BDM or the account manager has done such a great job in managing that relationship that they're like, you know what, let's stay with these people for the sake of this guy. I've seen it happen physically. I've seen it happen, in business deals. It's happened to me where I've lost out because of things like that before. But it just shows you how strong business development managers are. So, for those of you who are just starting off, right? The very first thing you need to take on board is know your market. Now, this is very, very important. Remember, I remember earlier I said something about not wasting time. Now, when I first started with startups, I literally called anybody I thought I could sell to as my target audience. So I ended up bringing a lot of people in. But at the end of the day, what you started seeing was that you sign a partner in January, it doesn't go live to maybe 2 years' time, or he may never go live. And then the legal team started, I think legal teams have a term for this, dead weight, right? No, so doorstop. Yeah, my guy called it doorstop, said he can literally count number of partners that people have signed. And if he puts them like with papers, he can actually stop the door from closing in his house. Right. So you see this a lot in a lot of places. So you need to ensure that you're actually talking to the right people. How do you find the right people? You can do this exercise, with me today. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what product are you selling? Secondly, who should ideally buy this product? Now you're going to create a list of people that you feel this thing should work for, and then have an honest conversation with yourself based on product features and where those people most likely are. Then ask yourself, do these people actually need it? There was a case study that was done by I'm trying to remember the company in the US. They sold hand sanitizing products, and what the guy said was, by the time they realized they're not making sales, or sales were just coming in haphazardly, they literally have to press reset to say, okay, fine, who have we been selling to so far? They found data points. They're like, okay, we sell to people who don't necessarily have big kitchens, but they are not small enough to be classified as a small, medium business. They stopped selling to big chains, and they're like, you know what, let's just find guys within this particular field. They use like a month to go around the country looking for all those people, and then they use the second month to profile them to say, okay, these people do this XYZ number of revenue in a day. This is how much they would most likely need. And they broke it down. At the end of the day, their sales teams within a month were able to get them to $1 million within a month. And they had never hit $1 million since they started like 2-3 years prior. That's how effective, targeting the right customer is. You don't waste time with dead weight. You also don't waste time people that actually just waste your time. So it requires a lot of research, analysis. A key place you can get some wonderful information. Although right now I think they're overflowed and they have issues, but I still use them a lot, is McKinsey. McKinsey always has information about industries and where things are going. So that also gives you a bit of an idea on how you can, begin, how well your industry is doing, which is something pretty critical. Oh gosh, okay, maybe I'll get into that later. But really, right, you need to be able to identify your core markets quickly. If you want to do Ojoro, go and look for who your competitor is working with, and go and try and steal them. That's exactly what, similar to what Money Points did, similar to what OPay did, and others. There were people in the market already who were doing POS. They went in, took majority share. Before you know what's up, they became number one, and they are thriving today. Some strategies for some strategies of execution, you need to go hard, you need to go fast. But yeah, let me quickly move on. Then, okay, understand your value proposition. So maybe this, I don't know if there are any founders here. Please permit me. If you don't fully know what you are selling, please don't give a salesman to sell. That's because, yes, we want to understand the product, and as a salesman, you need to understand what you're selling. But at the same time, you need to also be able to articulate it clearly with the right information, hitting the right pain points. So I'll give you a wonderful example. If you have a problem that you are not able to write, the solution is not necessarily a biro, but a writing apparatus. Bear with me for a second. I cannot write with any instrument, right? I want to write something down. Do you need a pencil or a biro? You've not answered that question yet. Or you need an apparatus. So if you now go and develop a pen that can write in space, for somebody who just wants to write in his book, have you necessarily solved that problem? On the flip side, if you know that the person needs to write, the person needs to be able to write such a way that he can see his work clearly, and then he wants to store it in a document that will last maybe 2, 3, 4 months, and then pass it on to somebody else in a physical format, then you know, okay, fine, this particular felt pen can fulfill all those services. Maybe I'm trying my best to give you like guys like a very clear understanding. But all I'm trying to say is that understand the value proposition. If it's saving money, then it is saving money. The question now becomes, how does your product help them to save money? Then you now look for all the positives that your product can bring to all your customers. That is what you're going to be able to sell to them directly. If you don't have all this already, don't panic. Something I did with my product team was I told them, I said, guys, I'm not really understanding APIs at the very beginning. Like, I don't really understand APIs that much. Can you tell me the words to use? Can you write out the positive things that I can use the API for? Can you educate me? And I sat down with them, and we were able to prepare a script. Now, you don't need to know that script right away. All you need to know is that your team has given you concrete information, and then they're able to break it down for you in basically bullet points, so that by the time you're talking to a customer who's going to work, you say, oh, come use our APIs, we're giving you embedded financial services, you're able to receive money from either Nigeria or outside the country seamlessly, and we can also give you same-day settlement. And then practice that script over and over again till it becomes a part of you. When it becomes a part of you, then you'll be able to sell more effectively. But like I said, if you don't understand it at first, it's fine. I didn't understand APIs when I started. It took me about a month or two before I really understood what an API was. And then I was then able to then improve upon my script. And I still use a script here today. I don't just walk into somebody's office to say, come and buy my market. I have the script that I usually follow. Please. Okay, you guys are networking already, because for you to be here means you're networking. So that's a huge bonus, it's a huge plus. I didn't discover networking early enough. That's because I came from a core sales background where it was kill or be killed. As my boss used to say, he says your job is to make the other person's product so irrelevant that they go out of business. However, in startups and in fintech, it's a whole different ballgame. You can actually collaborate with other people within your ecosystem to actually achieve more. So please, as much as possible, offer yourself up for support, offer yourself up for opportunities, and then share problems, especially your failures. Last but not least, master the art of communication. Like I said, practice. In my office, I've implemented a rule, because I tell my people that everybody can be a salesman. So members of my team need to sell me a product once a month. It's a mock sales process where I give you a product, like sell this product to me. And then they sit down, they go home, they do a full presentation, they come and they present to us. We give them feedback. Oh, snap. Sorry, can you guys still hear me? My network just went off.
Yes, Goke, we can hear you, and we can still see you.
Awesome, great, thanks. Sorry, my network went off for a bit. All right. So I was talking about communication. So yeah, I do mock trainings for members of my staff. Like, you need to be able to sell this thing wherever you are, talking to whoever you are. When you're talking, talk with confidence. Sometimes your confidence can actually fool the other people on the other side to be like, this guy knows what he's talking about. A very embarrassing story that happened to me once was, I won't call their name here because I think I saw someone who works there come on this call. I asked so many questions about tokenization and some processes that the dude was like, oh, let's please hold on. Can they please come? Their technical manager is on the call. I had to be like, guys, sorry, I'm not technical. I'm just business development. Yeah, I mean, I didn't need to go that far, no, but I sounded so confident and I knew my stuff so well that I literally, they were a bit confused as to, okay, why should I know that much, right? So, talk confidently. Make sure that anything you're doing has a flow. Don't be all over the place. Have a definite flow of how you want to communicate. Like I said, practice it daily and you'll get better at it. So I've been talking about activity. Why? There's one critical reason. Shola Barrow, a former CEO and sales executive at MTN, was, I think, director for sales BAT. He works with Diageo, director of sales in Glow. And he says, this is one thing he told us the first day we met. He said, sales is a consequence of actions. If you do not take any actions, you will not make sales. In as much as we are all building our wonderful pipelines and we are trying to close some deals, it's always good to take a step back to ask yourself, what actions have I taken to be able to close this deal? It may sound a bit weird, but trust me when I say, hold on, okay, somebody, okay, I thought I heard something. All right. So it may sound weird, but take a step back and check it out. Say, okay, this deal has been pending for the past 4 or 5 months. What actions have I taken to ensure that this thing goes over the line? Have I asked for help? Have I spoken to the right people? List the actions that you can take to help you take it over. Because a lot of times we just say, oh, this thing is or this thing is happening and everybody is stalling, or the owner is not around. There are actually some things you may be able to do. So what am I trying to say? At every day you wake up and you open your to-do list, pick out at least 5 critical actions that you can take to be able to meet up with your expectations. If you do not move, you don't score. Another thing I'll tell everybody is inspect what you expect. I got this from ID Young. He gave us a wonderful story how in Coca-Cola, the global head for West Africa, for Africa and Middle East, MENA region, came to Nigeria and said, oh, I want to go to a good market. And they're like, oh, awesome. They called the sale like, yo, dude, our bigger guy is coming, though. Set things up. Because like, boss, don't worry, I got you. A month to the training, boss, don't worry, I got you. So this is boss, I got you. A day to the event, they called the rep like, yo, dude, are you sure everything is fine? Said, boss, don't worry, I set everything up, everything is perfect. They got to the market. Now I don't know if you guys remember how terrible the mineral wars were back in the early 90s and mid 2000s. Like, they hated each other. They got to the Igbo market where their biggest dealer for the region was, and the guy had Pepsi on the premises. He didn't just have Pepsi, he had Pepsi banner literally in front of the shop. If you were the manager, what would you do to that staff? You kill him. Maybe not kill him because you go to jail, but you'll be devastated. The same thing with sales. Inspect what you expect. You need to inspect what you expect. If you expect that if you say that this guy can give you 200 million a month, some partners say, don't worry, sign me up, I'm going to give you 30 million naira a month in revenue. You need to inspect that revenue, inspect that partner, do your proper KYC. Like, guys, can I see what a daily average looks like on your platform? Can you give me access to your data? you need to push, because it would be horrible for you to tell your boss that, hey, Oga, I've signed this guy, he can give me 20 million every 1 hour. And then your tech team goes through integrations, everything happens, and then they're now seeing 3,000 naira. Then 4 days later, they now see 25,000 naira. And then they're like, okay, well, we're trying to do a couple of things. So please, in as much as possible, always inspect what you expect. I think one thing I was start to say is make BD your own. In sales and BD, you don't have to be like the best in the business. You have to focus on yourself. So, for example, me, I'm tall, I'm black, and I like to see myself as weird. I push my weirdness out during my business deals. They're like, "Oh, this guy is abnormal," and I'm comfortable with it. I'm also quite analytical. When I started field sales, especially field sales, I was the shyest person in the room. I couldn't talk to people. In fact, let me even shock you guys. My name is Adegoke Kester. I am from Lagos State. My local government is in Ekpe, Ago. Like, I can trace my family lineage. I cannot speak Yoruba to save my life. And then I was posted to Bomosho. So a guy who can speak Yoruba is meant to sell to people in Ogbomoso who most likely can't speak English very well. How do you do it? I embraced my handicap. I said, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ má bínú, mi lè sọ Yorùbá, but mo lè sọ English díẹ̀díẹ̀. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ má laugh me. Everybody would laugh and they say, Ọmọ Oyinbo has come. Instead of calling me Ọmọ Oyinbo, of course I know what that means, but you get it. But that's how I was able to connect with my audience while I was in field sales. The same thing with when I got into startups and got to selling APIs and tech. You need to know what works for you. Put yourself in that comfort zone. Don't try to do razzmatazz that you're not okay with. If you're a punchline person, stay with your punchlines. If you are very good at presentations, let your presentation be the best ever anybody is going to ever see. Keep working on that strength, because that strength actually was going to make you quite distinct when you sell to people. So moving a bit ahead, when you now get into like I won't say high level BD, but when your work starts to make you notice, you start taking more responsibilities. You start to become a bit more strategic in your thinking, right? So now, when before you're looking at somebody, oh, this guy can give me $100,000 in monthly revenue. Now you're thinking, are they the right fit for me, right? So, I mean, last year, some companies were trying to sign up with people in crypto. A lot of people were like, hell no, I'm not taking this risk, right? Could they have done it? Yes. In fact, I know 1 or 2 companies who sent people that were doing crypto, but they knew how to manipulate the Nigeria system to make everything clean, right? But is it a right fit for your company? Is it a right fit for your business? There are some investors, I've been on some investor call, and an investor will say, please, we don't want to see anything like betting within our ecosystem. Anything betting, you cannot handle it, because those are the core values that we have. Right, so your thinking has to be more strategic. You start looking for the type of partnerships, people you can collaborate with, right? Secondly, you start to innovate on a more regular basis. I gave this example to somebody at the last TSP engagement, where I was looking for a partner trying to sell markets, of course, and when I wasn't making a proper breakthrough, I went to their office directly. I'm like, hi. I let her like, hello, my name is Goke. I came from Abuja. I head to the CEO. Oh, it's not around. Oh, but I was told to come today. Who can I see? They're like, okay, well, nobody want to enter into trouble. They brought out the operations manager. Oh, hi, what's up? My name is Goke from ImaliPay. This is what I'm selling. And the guy says, okay, this is what he's doing. This is what he's doing. Right there and there, I realized that what we had cannot even work for these guys at all. However, because at least I had some understanding of how APIs worked, I said, okay, what if we give it to you this particular way, where you're able to match your results, match your inflows with whoever brought in that particular inflow. We can give you a WhatsApp bot where you can actually go in to identify who made the payment and get to your receipt. And the guy was like, you know what? This sounds awesome. Send me a presentation but before the end of today for us to go ahead. On my way back to the office, I called my head of tech, like, bros, Freeman, guy, how far? I need your help. I have told the customer we can do this. He said, yes, we can. Great. I need to work in a user flow. That night, we got in the product guys, we got in everybody, and then we now developed a system where, as a business, you can view all inflows from every customer. Now, here's the shocking part. In my mind, I had done something wonderful, right? Late last year, Flutterwave basically released I'm not joking, and I'm proud to say this anyway. They released exact replica of that product for SMEs, where when people pay you, you can view it on WhatsApp and you can view it on various channels. I didn't know it was possible, but they saw it as a viable product to produce. But this is something that I had to come up with on the fly that I had no clue about. You are going to be engaging customers who you don't necessarily have what they have, but you know that you have a solution for them. So which means you and your product guys need to start working hand in hand. Don't fight with them. Don't insult them. Don't tell them, you people are going to mess up my product again. No. And then become your best friends, right? Merge with them so that by the time you're doing iterations, right, they also be like, yes, this is possible. Another thing most people do once you get to particular stages, like I said, you don't make decisions willy-nilly. Everything you do has to be made with data backing you up, right? Data and data insights. So if you don't know anything about SQL, please, I beg you, go learn. Me right now, I have learned, because of this work, I have learned UX UI design, I have learned product development, I have learned database management, I've learned no-code design, and I'm currently doing product marketing on top again. Why? I see aspects where if I could get more information, it's easier for me to close deals. Let me shock you guys. Most fintechs that make it today, right? Most of them are doing things similar to betting. So if you say you want to get a betting partner that can give you millions daily and make everybody flex, right? How did you get these guys on board? You have to meet them where they are. Where are they? They are in bars, they are having conversations. They could be even in this meeting we are right now, someone trying to build something. And then you have the next 5 minutes to be able to sell your products to them on the spot. If you don't know how to innovate and you don't have the data that backs you up, the best you can do, you say, is, oh, let's meet tomorrow. But if you can close a deal right now, like my boss used to say, okay, if you can close your 1 year's target in 1 day, why not close it in 1 day? So you will get a lot of opportunities. It's our job to seize them regularly. So pretty quickly, because I can see that I've been talking for a while, I'm sure you guys have questions. So pitfalls and how to avoid them. Number one, please stop having short-term focus. I understand we are in a pressure society, pressure business, everyday pressure. In fact, today my guy was saying, okay, we have 7 days left. Oh, where is my 19 billion? I said, oh, God, don't worry, it's coming, right? But always have a long-term view. That actually puts you in a better position. I wrote an article recently on my LinkedIn where I try to let people know that, you need to build your reps in January. January is the period you're going to hear plenty news because people are trying to figure out what they want to do. Get those failures up and running. Perfect your sales pitch. Because when you're thinking long term, okay, fine, I may fail in January, but come February, I know more than I knew in January. And you knew in March, you knew more than you knew in January and February. You definitely get to your yes faster. Secondly, neglecting relationships. We are very guilty of this one. Once the guy should sign the contract, you stop picking his call. They say, guy, it's not me, it's go and meet the other person. Nah, that's for me, that for me is a no-no. You're the one that they knew, you brought them into the business. Still engage with them. Don't forget, it's you they trusted to do business with this company in the first place. They looked at you, they heard your pitch, like, you know what, I can work with this person and with this company. Please don't neglect them as much as possible. If you feel you have a poorly defined value proposition, I give you guys like a bit of hint here already. Go to your product team and literally break it down and start again. I can't say this more than enough. Let them be the ones to give you the key points so that you're sure that you're giving the right message. Poor customer identification, small pipeline. I think this sell itself. At the bottom right here, I have some dirty shoes, and there's a reason why I put it there. So, like I told you guys earlier, I had when I first started, I was meeting partners mostly virtually. I didn't know who they were. I was just, pushing and talking, and until I signed a deal that was going to give me, I think, $150,000 per week, which was about, let's say, $600,000 per month. They were based in Abuja, and we had a discussion. Things went well. A week later, they signed the contract. He calls me, is like, yo, dude, sorry, but won't be working with you guys any longer. And that was the end. I mean, I went into depression for a while, like 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I asked, okay, what happened? Where did the deal go wrong? A month later, I went to Abuja for something entirely different. And I met the guy, like, yo, dude, we spoke. Oh, okay, nice to meet you. How's it going? Things are awesome. I'm like, guy, how far now? Why you form my hand? I mean, bros, you just give me the dagger. What's happened? He said, bro, somebody else came with a better proposition. Like, yes, boss, when the contract, I said, yeah, boss, Goke. The guy came to his office, and that just for me, it lit a light bulb. The guy came to his office. In as much as we are all doing work from home, please do not undervalue one-on-one engagements. Do not undervalue working directly to people's offices to say, hi, I want to see Jumoke. She's so and so. I'm so and so from there. Do not undervalue saying, you know what, thanks for your session today. Can I take you out to lunch maybe sometime for us to discuss a bit more? Do not throw those one-on-one conversations away. The rubber must hit the road. If you're a BD person or a salesman and you spend half of your week in the office, I don't believe you are being effective. In my office, I use Mondays for reports, Mondays for meetings, and Tuesdays. From Wednesdays to Friday, I tell them, like, listen, if you see me, it's because it's urgent. I'm out. I'm going around looking for people to partner with, to engage with. I'm paying for people's lunches. Why? You need to be, I'm going for networking events. You cannot stay virtual forever. So please, please, and please, the rubber must hit the road. As my boss would tell me before, he says, okay, if you went out to the market and you came back and I'm not seeing sweat, your shirt is not dirty, your shoes are still clean, you did not go to the market, you went to a friend's house. When I see that your shoes are spoiled and you are buying new shoe because your shoe is tired because you're walking on the mountain, or okay, then I know that yes, you've given the sacrifice in the field. So please, as much as possible, guys, let's not forget that one-on-one conversations still matter. Sustaining your edge. I love All Might plus Ultra, all the anime fans out there. I'm sure you can see All Might here, but that's it. Every day things are changing, right? So stay ahead of the curve. Get to read publications. I read McKinsey. I highly recommend McKinsey articles. It gives you an idea. Attend industry events. I have one I'm going for this weekend. I have others that I've already set up and I've paid for. Go for paid events. Don't go for free events. And last year I made that mistake. Go for the ones that you pay. Why? You're actually able to meet most CEOs in a more relaxed, calm state, right? And then you're actually meeting decision makers who can actually help you move forward. So if you go for any events this year, please, even if you don't have too much money, plan for one. This one we're going now, I'm going there, I'm paying the VIP pass. I want to talk with these guys one-on-one, right? Read publications as much as you can. Secondly, build your skill sets. Like I said, I'm doing courses this year that I didn't think I should be doing, but because I've seen that there's a gap somewhere, I want to upskill myself. The difference between you and somebody else is just basically information. So whatever skills you need to add. By the way, if you're a salesperson, please, I feel it's compulsory. Learn product design. Learn UX UI design. Learn the basics of product development. Understand what it means when your guys say we're going live in 3 days' time. Understand the issues you're going to have internally. This really does help because now you can talk at least to some level on a technical level. So even if you are meeting the product manager of another company in an event, you guys at least have similar words you have in common, and you're like, oh, do a meeting. When people tell me, oh, take my email, honestly, I give them like email. Okay, this one don't bounce me now. I usually don't bother. Last but not least, embrace mentorship, ask for help. As BD people, we're arrogant, so I won't lie. We like to feel like we're the Mac Daddy of the Macs, we're the best. And yes, we are. But I take God beg you, ask for help when you need help. And especially share your failure stories. I shared the story of how in my mind I thought I signed a big deal, and at the end of the day, I realized that because I didn't have a one-on-one with this dude, anybody come out and bounce me. You learn more from people's failures than their successes. Honest truth. Somebody will go on LinkedIn today and say how he made 40 billion in 3 weeks. Everybody's excited, but he has not told you the failures he made. He has not told you the 12,000 things he did wrong to get it right the first time. You would then go and make those 12,000 mistakes unknowingly, or when you execute, you can't execute as well. So please, as much as possible, get a mentor and embrace it. So I'm looking at the future of BD right now, and it's it's scary, but it's also something that I think we also need to take into effect. In more conversations, I'm hearing AI. So two things: how does BD and AI work together? How can we leverage technology? How are we able to align AI with our businesses? Some of our businesses have started talking about AI already, that we want to go into AI this year. How do you sell AI? That's one question I don't think a lot of people ask. How do I sell AI to somebody? How do I sell AI to an organization? Right. So it's a good place to now start thinking and to start like projecting what that's going to be. I've had investor conversations where ESG becomes like a part and parcel to the basically that's like an environmental standard, and you're not polluting the air and greenhouse gases, things like that. It may sound irrelevant, but I've met somebody who so they do blockchain, not crypto. I've been corrected about that twice. They do blockchain, but their blockchain partner, they have like an echo something, and I don't know. I honestly I don't know. I didn't know what it meant, but apparently there are some certification you're meant to get to be able to work with them, stuff like that. It's becoming a bit more rampant because of guys in the US, and of course in Nigeria here, we're blessed. Air pollution is not killing us yet, so I think we're pretty good. But depending on business operations, you may have certifications available. And then last but not least, hyper personalization. For this, I would just say this, right? You need to become your own brand. I'm shy. I don't like going out in public. I love reading a book, playing my video games. But you need to become your own brand. People need to know you for who you are, and people need to know that they can trust you. I learned that wonderful lesson from Gerald. Gerald is former Pixie 45. I think he just left. I think he's left Anchor now. I think the head of sales for Anchor. And one thing he told me when they said Goke, if people do not see you, you don't exist. And that blew. He said, if people don't see you, you don't exist. I'm like, wow, that took me off. I didn't see that coming. So this year, please become your own spokesperson. Publish more articles on LinkedIn. Don't go and do spam. I beg. Don't go and go to AI, copy something and just put it back. No, let it be meaningful and impactful. Let it be something that's within your area of expertise, so that you can talk about and wake up at night. So that when people start checking you out, they're like, oh, it happened to me on, I think last week, Friday. I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, okay, I work with CashMatrix. Oh, CashMatrix, okay, fine. He brings out his phone. He goes on LinkedIn, he checks me out. I see that someone has viewed your profile. He goes to CashMatrix. I'm like, wow, people are checking me out on LinkedIn now. Why? It's something I didn't think will happen, but I now know that I need to, quickly like up myself in that regard. So lastly, my last strategy for success, like I said, embrace a continuous learning mindset. BD is a team effort. Know your tech team, know your customer support team, know your product team. Everybody needs to become your friend, and be accountable to yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to go and do everything at the same time. Novak Djokovic, one of the best tennis players ever, as far as I'm concerned, better than even my main man Federer. When he was like number 10, number 20, he was there for a while. His coach only made him change two things about his racket swing, and he changed two things about his decision making. And those two small changes literally shifted his win averages for serves from say a 75-80% to 85-92% by just changing two things. So I think what I'm trying to say is that look for one thing you can change, maybe per quarter. Focus on that thing. If it's one-on-one engagements and networking, let that be your baby for that period. Put it on it, kill it, because the more those small changes you make in small areas would actually lead to big changes in bigger areas as well. So I think that's the end from me. I've been talking for a while. Thank you guys so much. I would love to open the floor for questions and observations from any member of the team at this point. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Goke. This is an intense session. In fact, I had to go to it. Our lineup this year it just really is fire. Thank you. There are lots of questions here from my end. Registration form. Does anybody have questions in the audience for Goke? I really love the part where you spoke about BD people being very proud. It's very honest. I think we talk about it a lot. Dara and I, everybody wants to look like they're doing really good, which is good, right? But at the same time, you need to know the difference between posturing and just shooting yourself in the foot, right? Because the next person beside you might have a tip that would change, that deal that you've been trying to close for months now and has refused to close, right? I really, really do love that you brought that up. And yeah, Gerald, we're still bringing him, I think, next month. So yeah, Gertrude, I know you're not proud. I know that. I know that. Yeah, I know that. Nancy, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you, Adegoke. It was a very insightful session. My name is Nancy. You have mentioned during the session, you spoke about saturation in certain markets within the country, which is very true. I think the fintech space is very saturated at the moment. It's almost very hard to understand, more like distinguish your products at the moment.
Okay, I can't hear Nancy again. Is it just me?
I thought it was just me. I thought it was me as well. That's why I turned off my video. So I think it's from Nancy's end. Hi, Nancy. We can't hear you anymore. Okay. So while we're waiting for Nancy to get back, anybody else?
Can
Nancy,
anybody hear me? Network is really bad.
We can hear you
Oh my God.
now. Yeah, we stopped hearing you for a bit. Okay. Move on. And really, would you like to go?
Okay. Hi, can anybody hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, hi. Okay, so are you able to combine learning all these different skill set from product marketing to SQL, there's data analytics to product design? Are you able to combine it with your work? So do you get to do it maybe at close of business or maybe weekends? Like, how do you combine it? That's what I just want to know.
My brother. If I tell you, say I get perfect answer, I like to give you. But so a habit I cultivated a while back. I got this from my former general manager. Every night for 2 hours, she reads a book. Just every night for 2 hours, and honestly, you'll be shocked what that actually does. I did product. I did product management in about 3 months. And basically, all I did was just 1 to 2 hours per night. I just, read, and check it out. And that's because, like I said, I wanted to really understand what was happening with my product teams. Because prior to that, in fact, I'll say you. I said, if I catch you on you, I'm going to beat you. And inside meetings, we used to tell each other that you're the failure, you're the failure. Right? So I needed to put myself in their shoes because I realized that, maybe it was me that was messing up. Right? So, but usually, yeah. So every night I read articles. Every night I read articles. I wish I could show you my calendar, although I can't show you now, Sha. But my calendar basically every night from 9 to 9:30, I do a bit of voiceover work, and then from 9:30 to let's say 10, I read an article. I just go online, any article on fintech. I just go online, read stuff, close that out. And then what happens is that over time, that information that you have just begins to like balance things out. So when someone says, "Oh, this thing you just said now, I remember it from what I read from somewhere," and then you're able to use that to have a conversation. So mostly, I would recommend just like 1-2 hours per night, read something, do something, and you'll be shocked how after like 2-3 months, you actually start becoming quite good at that thing.
So yeah, so I was also sorry, follow-up question. So aside learning them now, do you also put them in practice, or is it just theoretical? You just learn them, but do you also put them in practice?
Oh, 100%. Please put it in practice. Theory can only get you so far. So like example I gave you guys, in fact, that was my first ever $1 million deal. Like that deal that I closed, $1 million a month. I was so proud of myself. Prior to that, so what I had done before then was I literally learned how to do user flows using Figma. I learned how to do the arrows, the drawing. I knew what this meant. I knew what that meant. Like I actually let I practiced. I did some mock stuff by myself. I would show my head of tech, like, yo, Oga, see what I've done. No, is it okay? I try and don't worry, keep it up. Because I needed to know I was doing the right thing. So head of products, head of tech, I'm like, guys, see what I did yesterday. Does it make any sense? Oh, fine. 10-15 minutes over coffee, over lunch. Oh, guy, you're working well, doing well. So that when the opportunity came, it was actually easy for me to actually just jump into that straight away.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, any like Nancy, are you back? Are you back? Okay, so we're not waiting for Nancy. There's an interesting question here. Someone asks, why are BDs poorly paid? I wanted to ask that question first because I think it's something we should actually discuss, right?
So I'll tell you my experience and I'll give you my opinions, right? So I think it also depends on where you are currently working. If you're working with the legacy, can you hear me?
Yes, that's exactly why I wanted us to talk about it.
Yeah. So if you are working with a legacy company, the big boys, I know some people here already work with them, so I'll mention their names, right? Your remuneration will actually go quite well. However, if you are working with, okay, let's even start with the big companies, right? You need to understand sales roles are not, how do I put this? They are not, there's a word. You don't need to go to school to learn them. They can be learned on the job. It is sad, but it's also true. We fought for increased pay at MTN for a long period. Before we finally got it, they said, okay, fine, we're giving you, but it's going to be inside commission. And one guy said, listen, you guys are shouting. This thing people are doing. If I train, I can get a guy out there, train him for 4-5 months, and he can do exactly what you're doing. It's not lying, but technically it's not wrong. So in big organizations, salespeople don't make so much money, but they make a lot of commission. However, if you are in a fintech, it's a bit worse. Because in fintech, the real salespeople, and I have issue with some startups in Nigeria, you've not even found product market fit. You have not done, your product is still trying to be balanced, and then you now say you want to hire a head of BD. Or got to do what? As a fintech or as a startup, the first salesman for that business is the CEO. It is when you want to scale after you've achieved product market fit that you bring in a salesperson. And please, let's not forget, at the end of the day, we are like football managers. Nobody cares if you won Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, you won AFCON. If for 3 months you don't bring in 1 naira, they'll just call you and say, Oga, is everything fine? By the 4th month, they are saying, you know what, we're having conversations. By the 6th month, they're giving you a letter. It's like you've reached the end of your tenure here. We have one of the most like I said, it's a thankless job half the time. Titi will sign a deal worth $2 million tomorrow. The CEO goes to UK to meet his family for vacation. What's the correlation? he takes the praise. We are the grunts on the ground. So, which is why, I mean, I encourage most BD guys that when you start BD, for your trajectory, your aim really, and this is just my opinion, please, you can debate this later. Your opinion should become an operations manager. Because once you understand sales, you understand how the product is made, you know who puts the product together, you can begin to direct and to make things happen. You will get to a point that if you do sales and take your opportunities well enough, I mean, I've done it before. I've signed contract without telling my CEO because I knew that this thing was going to work in the next 2-3 months. I signed contract, I did everything, and I said, okay, I've signed it already. Okay, you're crazy. I said, thank you for telling me I'm crazy. I know what I'm doing. But he could have allowed you because he knew that, okay, fine, I had come some way. So it gets to a point where you can start making those kind of high-level decisions. But at the same time, you also need to grab it. But before you grab it, you must first prove yourself. I say prove yourself, like saying in Thor, prove yourself worthy to carry the hammer of Thor, right? But yeah, I mean, that's just my view. And I don't know if I'm able to answer your question to the best of my ability.
Right. Thank you so much, Goke. One more person has a question. Yeah, Oluwadarasimi.
Thank you so much, Goke. So my question is, okay, now you already know your customers. Say your customers are like big businesses or maybe high profile individuals. How do you get to them? How do you get to meet them?
Yeah. So first of all, I doff my hats to you. You identify the greatest problem a BD person will ever face in this life, which is access. So there's something that I started doing now that I'm trying to like increase my availability and my awareness, right? So first things first, if you identify them, who is within their circle, who can you get to, right? That's number one. Number two is that it's something that, like I said earlier, this year I'm going for more paid sessions. So last year when they had that tech about big event, everybody basically went, right? But when it came to the VIP sessions where they wanted to meet with investors and everything, the crowd went down from like, let's say 1,000 to like maybe like 74. And I'm like, what? How did this happen? Why? The VIP was like 100 and something thousand naira. If you're like me, a humble man, you're like, wow, that's a wonderful price range. You go for the free ticket. But you have to make that sacrifice, right? I paid for an event last year that basically had me sitting side by side with Tayo and the other co-founder for Paga. And at that point I was like, okay, don't get too nervous. They're human beings like yourself, right? And I said, okay, how's your expansion in Mexico going? Because I read from somewhere. It's like, Mexico is going fine. You open up and started talking. I got his phone number. That's one. Before the end of last year, I reached out to him to say, I heard you guys want to start loans in your company right now. Is there any way we can help with software? It's like, well, not none of this thing, but no, nice picking up. That's fine. You need to go to where they are. The shortest answer I can give you right now is go for paid events, budget it. These people are saying 150,000 naira to meet investors, so I'm going to make it. That's one. Secondly, when you meet them, so if I ask you now, if you meet sorry, I can't pronounce his name properly, the Andela dude. If you meet him today, what will you discuss with him? Right? What does that conversation look like? You need to start drafting what that conversation looks like now, so that by the time you see him tomorrow, right, you're able to have that quick conversation and do that quick follow-up, right? So access is sometimes it's very hard. Some of them go to Las Vegas, some of them they are not in the country half the time, but one way or the other, we find a way just to make it. And if you can't reach them directly, my dear, look for who is their PA. Who is their PA? Be best friends with the PA. Be best friends with anybody else that you can get in that C-suite level, right? And begin to form it. The important thing you need to do is this. Do not sell to them immediately. They hate that. Trust me, they do. First start with a conversation. and then later look for a proper timing where you can actually now be like, okay, you know what? Let me now push this thing. Because let me tell you something. When they are making those final deals, yeah, oh, jeez, we are closing down. When you're making those final deals, right? Quick example. Money Point started working with Bento this, I think, late last year or this year as their official embedded financial partner. I chased Bento for like 4 or 5 months until I got tired. But that decision was most likely made over, first of all, who was available, or who do we know that sells this particular product? Let's give this person, right? So, I mean, if there's no one way, there's no one answer, but there are some things that we've started doing already that we're seeing that, okay, this works. And I mean, that's how we'll keep formulating new strategies every time. And then we just keep practicing until we get it like a perfect fit. I hope that I hope I did a bit of justice there.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Yes. So somebody is asking how does BD differ from sales?
Okay. So your sales process ideally is centered around you just selling a product, right? But as a salesperson, are you the account manager? The answer is no. As a BD person, you're an account manager as well. An account manager has 3 key functions to a business. So if for example, you sign Enyata as your partner tomorrow, right? You've gotten the millions of dollars, you're happy, everything is fine. How then do you manage Enyata? That becomes a BD process as well. So you're saying that, okay, Enyata needs to have reports every day on how things are working and the performance. That's number one. That's the first thing. Secondly, you need to be able to resolve issues in a timely and orderly and quick manner, right? That's second. The third thing you need to do with Enyata is that you need to ensure that your partnership with them is actually bringing profits. There's no point in having a partnership with somebody that is losing money, because one day is going to blame you for it, right? And that's where BD and sales basically diverge. In sales, your focus is just strictly, I have this product, I have sold it to you, take it and move on. Most likely, you may not even meet that customer again 4 or 5 months from now. But if you're a real BD person, which I tell every salesperson to be, you must be a BD person, because you can get more referrals from that same customer. You follow up with those people on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. You check up with them, issues, find out what problems that they're having. Basically, you engage them as much as you can, and that's basically how it is. So, sales stops once they sign the contract. BD is after they sign the contract, even after they may have left, you are still engaging with these guys.
So basically, strategy plus sales, not just ordinary sales.
Exactly, it's not just ordinary sales, no.
So Dara has a question. If I go on to ask next question. Hi, Dara.
Hi, today. Hi, everyone. So I heard the confession that was just told. Please confirm if it's an echo.
Your
So
line
Dara,
is not very clear.
yeah, I didn't quite hear well.
While we're waiting for Dara, someone is asking, what's the difference between business development and project management? I'm really curious as to why these two similarities.
Project management does not have sales targets. I think that's just the one I can tell you.
Yeah, that's like very obvious.
At the BDM, you have a target. So like I said, in BDs, you are chasing revenue, you are chasing retention, you are chasing price. In fact, even down to pricing, you have a saying that. Project management is just basically managing like managing not necessarily operations, but you're managing processes. Oh, this must go here by this time, which is also a very important role. But but the key difference is one has a financial target on his head, the other doesn't have financial target on his head. He's okay where he is.
Okay. So someone else is asking, what are the success metrics for BD, for a BD role?
Success metrics.
What are the key metrics of succeeding at a BD role?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it may also vary per industry, right? So the first thing I'll look at is, can you bring in strategic deals? Can you bring in big deals? Now, it doesn't mean that you must start bringing in 100 billion from day one, right? But are you able to start having strategic partnerships with other people? Start putting you and your organization in those conversations, right? So you're looking at being able to have key partnerships, you're able to bring in revenue, and mostly you're able to have retention, especially now that we're having most fintechs are now doing SaaS models, right? What does retention and SaaS look like? I mean, has your product been able to build enough barriers to entry so that if anybody else comes, it's harder for them to basically take it up? Or is it a case whereby I can bring in somebody else today? So, I mean, if I was to look for success criteria, I think I'll look at those things. And then, of course, so yeah, basically revenue, bring in revenue, and the partnerships for me is very, very, very critical. Oh, last but not least, managing resources. Yes, you'll being able to manage resources given to you to be able to achieve your goals. Some BDs are actually like CEOs in some companies where they have a project. This is your budgets. You control everything. Go you forth to the world and multiply. And then if that becomes, so how do you manage resources? How do you manage operations? Are you identifying the right KPIs to take you across board? A key example I'll put is, so for example, your fintech is trying to do more POS terminals. And as a BD, your question is, should you be looking for volume or should you be looking for count? Now, if you worked in FMCG, you understand that your count is actually better than your volume, because you can be processing maybe hundreds of millions of naira every month, but your revenue is low. Oh, wonderful. Money Points has, say, someone Money Points has like 100,000 POS. POS, the transaction, I think they earn 20 naira. If 100,000 POS can do 5 transactions in a day, that money goes directly to Money Points, right? So you can see that they are not really interested in the volume, but mostly interested in the count. So being able to now identify the KPIs for which will become a measure of success at the end of the day that puts you in a more strategic position is actually the kind of things you look out for. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree 100%. So I think Dara is back. Hi, Dara.
Hi, Dara.
Right. So yes, hi everyone. So I wanted to make a contribution, right, to the difference between business development and sales. Okay. So as someone who has worked in startups, done business development for startups, and now doing that for big tech, I can say that business development, excuse me, it varies from companies, right? When I was working in startups, I saw more of a bit of business development being embedded in sales roles, because to be very honest, in sales, if you are manning your own market, or you're manning your desk, or you're managing a market, say you're selling to a market and you've been given the authority to man that market. I think that's the best word I can think of at the moment. You will do a bit of business development. However, business development in big tech, from what I understand it to be, is basically identifying new business opportunities, new market opportunities. So you have a product, say you sell payment product, right? As a salesperson, your job is to take that product to the customer that you want to sell it to. As a business development person, you're a more strategic person. So you're looking at that product and thinking, how can we expand? Like, how can you are developing new business? Like, the meaning of it is embedded in the term itself. So you're thinking, how can I grow this business? It's like your business. Like Goke said, you are the CEO, literally role-playing CEO. So how do I expand this business? How do I develop new opportunities? What's the market trend? In the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, where does it look like this product I'm selling is heading towards? And how can I stay on top of that market to make sure that I'm able to generate revenue from that even beforehand? So you're forecasting as well. You're doing a lot of that. You're doing a lot of budgeting. Like, again, you're role-playing CEO. So you're going to be in charge and responsible for budgeting. If there's anything your team will be spending money on regarding the business, you'll be in charge of that. You'll be in charge of managing resources. And in some companies, business development, salespeople report to business development, because for business development, right, the roles rather is, I would say, what's the best way to explain it? So you're like yet to launch a product. You want to launch a product, you're yet to launch a product. You need a business development person. You also need a salesperson. But for business development, you're mostly focusing on new products that have not even been launched, new opportunities. And when the idea or when the product or when the business is profitable, then you can now onboard salespeople to take it to the customers. I hope I'm being clear enough because I feel like I've been rambling.
You're spot on, loud and clear. Yeah.
Exactly. So from my experience, that's like an addition to business development, the difference between business development and sales. But I also know that it varies from company to company. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, Gertrude. How you doing? Can you hear us?
I can hear everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the information today. It's been amazing. My question is about BD process and structure. I know I've had this conversation with TT before, but it's something I'm really curious as to how it is in the different organizations. So it'd be nice to like hear from you what your process and structure looks like in the different organizations. I'm sure it must have been different through the different organizations you've been at, but presently, what does it look like for you?
Well, I mean that's a very loaded question. So let me take a step back in time. So I worked with the Yellow Army team. So basically, when MTN launched 4G, I was part of the sales team and the analysis team, basically doing reporting and trying to like execute, right? So there was a particular feature that we needed to have on customers' phones to help bypass some NCC challenges that we had. So we sat down, we did the design, and then we submitted it to the IT team for approval. Lord have mercy. They said it took them 7 months to implement, and I wanted to run Mentor. So organizations are very bureaucratic when it comes to tech implementation or even BD processes. So, for example, if you want to say implement a feature like that, you need to first fill a form, and that form must go to your manager, and the manager must get to sign up to the GM, and then it then goes to the tech team, and then they have to say, okay, fine, guys, we currently have tech debt of let's say 4 or 5 months. This stuff, is it critical? Is it not critical? Are we able to easily implement it? And then said, okay, yes, we can implement it. It's okay, fine, but will it bring us money? That's a different conversation. Okay, fine. The BD guy is okay. We're going to ignore this particular feature. Does it make sense? If we ignore this one, we won't make that much money, but we'll try and make more money. And then it goes from that. Then it now goes to the tech team for now to implement. Now the tech team will then say, sorry, I talk pretty fast. The tech team will now be like, oh, guys, that's true. We have, this is our form, please fill it. What features do you want? And then they'll be like, oh, from what we've seen, this cannot work, blah, blah, blah. You have to go back and get some other information again. Like, it can be very, very bureaucratic. So that's just to implement, just say, one particular instance. We've also seen cases in some fintechs, like at ImaliPay, where I work, was if you wanted something, boom, it's done. Like, you would tell them, maybe just an email here, there, trying to get things done. Now, when it comes to now BD itself and operations, what you then start to see now is it follows the same trajectory of you can't necessarily do things on your own, but it then has to do with more of, I don't know, can I say lobbying? So if you know maybe the head of a particular department that can help you fast track certain things, you become pals with that guy to ensure that by the time you're now doing your own project, things go a whole lot faster. So in big organizations, what you see is that there are various processes, lots of back and forth before a decision can actually be made. versus a startup who just wants quick, fast results. And in some cases, they even collapse it to say, you know what, we're going to collapse all the necessary bottlenecks. All we want to do is just move forward, right? So it's really dependent on organizations. In fact, there was a feature that we did before I left the data channel when we were doing for 4G migrations. That feature was, the claims come out in 6 months, about a year and a half later before it was not fully developed. That actually came out like for the public to use, right? It seems crazy, but that's how it is. So yeah, so there is, and sometimes it can actually hinder, progress. So as a BD person, you're like, you need this thing out in maybe the next 2-3 months, and then you're not hearing stories that we can't necessarily do it, or your third guy wants to just show you get to say, "Maybe you did not get to your birthday last week. Don't worry, sir, the system is down." Where things like that do happen a lot. So yeah, I think in summary, you do have very complex organizations who require different. In fact, I don't know if Dara knows this, but I feel like I think, is that Pista for Insert Switch? Their process to even sell a POS to somebody, I was exhausted. I was like, oh Lord have mercy, I'm tired, right? It goes through like 3 to 4 different departments before you then get to the like some other things again. So of course, it's done for security. It's also done to ensure that things are done in the proper way. I love processes, but at the same time, I also love to break the rules to get what I have done. So I mean, that's my experience so far, right? So big organizations, highly bureaucratic. You need to find out how you can wiggle your way out. Smaller organizations, very fast. Just basically buy your tech guy Coke. He's on your side.
Amazing. Okay, so another question. We have a few more questions here before we jump off. Someone just asked, how do you know when your market is, when your product is market ready?
Hey, how do you know when your product is market ready?
Yeah.
There are various. I mean, everybody has various. For me, if you know your product is market ready, is when your user turns into a customer. So I'll put it this way: if the person that is using your product does not mind paying for that product, especially in this Nigerian markets that we are, the moment your user says, okay, I don't mind paying 4,000 naira a month just to have this service, consistently with me, then you can now say, okay, fine. How many users can we get to this rate? And they pay for over, let's say, a 5-6 month period consistently, judiciously not stopping, right? That's when I say you have it. So I mean, there are people we call brand ambassadors. So for someone to be a brand ambassador, the person must have experienced your product, right? Enjoyed your product, enjoyed it so well that they can recommend it to others. The moment the person can do that, then you know that you have something that somebody actually wants. If you are not able to scale that over a 6-month period, having people say, I must do it, for example, I must buy airtime. Product market fit is already there. If you don't buy airtime, you know that you can't call anybody, you can't use data. That's crazy, but product market fit, right? When you're able to do that with customers, then you can know that, yes, you have it. But I understand where you're coming from, because some people don't even have products. Forget about the market fit. They're still trying to get the product right, and they're expecting you to do miracles, right? I've experienced it before as well. And one thing I find really helpful is what you need to do mostly for me is you need to give your team proper and honest feedback to say, guys, this is what the market is, not me now. The market is saying that this is what they want, so that they can be able to begin to now like marry, what's happening in the field versus what the efficiencies are going to be. Like I said earlier in my discussion, I said I was selling phones, and all of a sudden they were like, well, we can't get PMF with this, we're moving to SaaS model. And I'm like, from selling phone to SaaS model, I beg, how far now? I had to adjust. It helped that I had some enterprise background from where I was coming from, but you had to quickly adjust. And then it's not like we had full PMF. but they were indicators that one or two partners were, using it constantly for over a period. They're like, okay, you know what? If we have PMF in this area, and I mean, we had at that point you have to just trust them that they actually figure it out. But for me, like I said, doing it for like 5-6 months and are willing to pay and are actually paying that money, then you can say that yes, you're closing your PMF.
Okay, thank you. So, are there specific tools or technologies that you recommend for streamlining business development processes?
So this one, I may not really speak much about it because I'm a old traditional guy. In fact, I was harassing Dara online one time saying that Outlook is still the OGs of OGs when it comes to email, right?
Please, let's start.
Outlook is still the king, man. No matter what anybody tells me. But so as a BD person, if you're managing resources, please jump on Jira as quickly as possible, because it gives you a whole lot of insight managing your teams. If you're managing a team of people, especially when it comes to pipeline development, there is this what's the name of these guys again? Oh Jesus, I've forgotten their name. I stopped using them last month, so I don't know, the name skipped me. But if I can, I'll like put it in the chat or something. There is that Salesforce. God bless you, Salesforce. Please use Salesforce. Very good for being able to manage your pipeline, manage your people, see who are they talking with, and it gives you that 360 bird's eye view. Sometimes you need to also work with your tech team. So there are certain applications that also give like some proper insights that the product teams use. As much as possible, do not let them rely on manual methods, right? There are oh god, I don't know why it's skipping me. There are certain plugins that they can get that can give you basic information, like for example, clicks per day, where the mouse was hovering over most of the time. As a BD person, you need to actually have that insight to say, okay, fine, what is within this context? Because don't forget, as a BD person, you are both product and you are also both customer and their business. So by the time you are looking at things, you're looking at it more from a third angle, 3D angle that nobody else is seeing. So as much as you can, encourage your team to get those ones. But like I said, I'm still using Excel to a very large extent to today, although I'm slowly beginning to take up other tools that people use. Salesforce, I think I have to pay for it again this year. I've convinced my dad to pay for it anyway, so I'm guessing that's
Thank you so much, Adegoke. This has been very, very intense, and this has been really helpful. I'm sure a lot of people got, at least one thing to use in the course of their work. Yeah, because a lot of companies cannot afford. I was even going to say that a lot of companies cannot afford Salesforce. People that are working for startups, like new companies, so Freshworks is good as well. Or I think we're going to be having workshops for CRMs later in the year. So yeah, and please, guys, if you have tools that you use that are cheap, HubSpot is expensive. If you work for a very small company that doesn't have money to spend on tools,
HubSpot is a coded killer. Don't near those guys, or those guys will chop your money before you can save your currency.
They are very expensive, Jesus. But if your company can pay for it, it's really good. In fact, you can connect it straight to your sales nav. Yeah, you can connect it straight to your sales nav, because normally sales nav won't let you export your list. I don't know why it does that, right? So you can connect it, export straight into your CRM and all of that. It's really good. But if your company cannot afford it, I think Pipedrive is cheap. It's very cheap. You can try that. Yes, Salesforce expensive, then HubSpot after Salesforce. But yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. But if you can, Salesforce is really good. HubSpot is my fave. It's really good as well. Thank you so much, Adegoke. This has been so good. So we're going to be sharing the recording in the community and also sharing the slides as well. If you are joining us for the first time and you don't have access to the Slack channel, please join using the link. I'm dropping it right now in the chat box. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Adegoke. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everyone that contributed. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you, Dara. Thank you, Willie. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. Please have a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome evening. I'm going to find suya and bread now. Let me go and eat food and bread.
Thank you, Goke. This is really amazing. Thank you.
Like, what's that combination, please? Suya and bread. Wow.
Bros, that is a real man's food for dinner. Buy suya. Suya like 1K. Open the bread, put inside. Make sure you put kidney, small torso, then beef. So the oil will come out well. Press it flour. What are you talking about?
Let me go and report you on Twitter.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
All right, now, yeah, good night, Josh.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night.